The suspect had just ended a vacation. He was exiting a cruise ship in Miami, Florida, when he was taken into custody.
So for today's topic, we have to go over a story that is going absolutely viral all over the internet, involving a pretty dumb mistake made by, let's call him a deadbeat cruiser, a dad that has been on the run for years, and meanwhile he has been accumulating a massive amount of child support debt to the point to where the police were looking for him and would eventually find and arrest him after he concluded a cruise. I guess he went to go get the milk, or I guess in this case, a drink with his drink package, and never came home. I do have a quick news clip that I want to show all of you for context, and we'll go over everything else after, as well as go over something that some of you may not know when it comes to cruising that could put you in handcuffs as soon as the cruise concludes.
Holiday cruise ends with a one-way ticket to Louisville and Metro Corrections for a man who owes thousands in child support. WDRB Stefan Johnson tells us how child support detectives found the suspect after more than 10 years on the run.
The suspect had just ended a vacation. He was exiting a cruise ship in Miami, Florida, when he was taken into custody. And now it's very likely Metro Corrections will be his home for the holidays.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Weaver.
Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell says Dominic Weaver has been on the run from child support for several years.
I don't know when he left, but he fled the jurisdiction, and from the date of his sentence until today, and even today, he's not paid 1 cent of child support.
But last week, Weaver was taken into custody in Florida.
He was found, fortunately, but this is the interesting part, by the Miami police getting off a cruise ship last week in Miami.
Detectives from the Child Support Division recently flew to Miami, brought Weaver back to Louisville, and locked him up at Metro Corrections.
This is one of the most egregious events that brings something to light that I think I've ever seen.
O'Connell says Weaver has a total of 4 cases with the Child Support Division.
Those 2 more of those are ready for indictment, again, of more felonies.
And owes more than 6 figures in back child support.
I think it's somewhere in the $114,000, $120,000.
According to the county attorney's office, in 2021, Weaver owed more than $99,000 in support and has several years in prison hanging over his head.
I'm going to ask the court at the next opportunity to revoke his sentence and sentence him to 4 years in the state penitentiary for this offense.
For years, O'Connell's office posted the names of delinquent parents in the local newspaper. These days, the approach is different, but doesn't always work.
Our office does everything we can to work with people that have this obligation. I mean, everything we can, to the extent of even helping find employment and do things like that.
Right now, Weaver is scheduled to be in court for arraignment on January 6th. I'm Stefan Johnson, WDRB News.
So it appears that Dominic Weaver was attempting to weave out of his responsibilities, but thankfully, well, eventually, what they say, 10 years later, he was apprehended and justice is now served to a certain extent. I feel bad when these types of situations do occur for the child that is involved that unfortunately doesn't have his father around. But we don't know what ship he was sailing on. I know they showed some drone footage of a Carnival ship. However, it hasn't been officiated. That's neither here nor there. Personally, it's not really that relevant. He could have been with MSC. He could have been with Disney. Who knows? But the fact remains that he was indeed on a cruise. It's crazy how he has money for a cruise, but he doesn't have money for his own child that he created. Absolutely insane to me. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, when it comes to the idea of child support, I 100% believe in it. I believe it is absolutely necessary. Do the courts at times go a little bit over the top? Yeah, absolutely. Personally, for me, full transparency, I do believe there should be some small changes, but again, this stuff is always going to be subjective and objective to each specific case. However, none of this applies in the case of Dominic Weaver. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me when I hear stuff like this. There are just so many options that he had to work something out with the mother and the courts. If the issue was getting a job, there are so many resources, but to just disappear for 10 years and not see your child, how do you do that? I don't want to get too personal, but to me, that's absolutely insane. Now, one thing you guys do have to keep in mind that when it comes to a cruise, because I've seen this happen on multiple occasions, a lot of times, people will go on a cruise and whether they did it intentionally or unknowingly, they have a warrant for their arrest, the police are looking for them and they go on the cruise. The cruise lines don't run necessarily a background check, but again, if you have something like an outstanding warrant or you're being wanted by the police and you get on a cruise because of all the paperwork involving things like your passport and your birth certificate, you going to other countries, it's very detailed stuff. It's important to know that you will absolutely get flagged if you are wanted by the authorities when you are taking a cruise. So you guys know you've been getting a little bit of trouble out there. Maybe you do have a warrant for your arrest. Maybe a cruise isn't exactly advisable, or you are going to set yourself up to deal with something as soon as the cruise is over. In this particular case, in the opinion of many, it is probably a good thing that he took this cruise because, again, now he can pay for his, well, lack of payment. But maybe I'm wrong. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you have not already. And as usual, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Take it easy.